With the upcoming release of Cowboy Carter and my discussions about 7th albums with both Ariana Grande's Eternal Sunshine and Taylor Swift's Lover, I wanted to revisit Renaissance, the first act of Beyonce's ongoing 3-act project and her 7th studio record. It also marked Beyonce's 3rd consecutive game-changing record. Her self-titled album in 2013 all but invented the surprise drop release method and even moved music release days to Fridays instead of Tuesdays. Lemonade marked a cultural touchstone for both Beyonce and the general public and essentially redefined the idea of creating a full-length visual album. It also marked Beyonce's forced foray into country music and would later inspire Renaissance's sequel in Act 2 of the project. And like Renaissance, was robbed of the Album of the Year Grammy despite its profound, lasting impact on the culture, overall vernacular, and industry trends. Much of the late 2010s marked a period of Beyonce appraising and appreciating the legacies of Black voices in art and culture, a theme that would actually continue into Renaissance. Renaissance is defined as a revival or renewed interest in something. It also refers to an art period where the Middle Ages had shifted to a period of modernity inspired by classic models. This was a time when art, architecture, science, and life experienced great social change. Beyonce knew that naming her record that would mean that her work would have to fit that definition, and it honestly did. In this video, we'll recap the lead up to Renaissance's release and legacy before finally going through each track, and because we haven't gotten the visuals, this video is going to be mostly black screens and text, and maybe some tour footage. Before Renaissance, Beyonce was on a hot streak in that Lemonade had shifted the culture. Her iconic 2018 Coachella performance ended up with its own Grammy-winning movie. Even her Lion King soundtrack and its film Black is King made her the most awarded singer and female artist in Grammy history. The world was watching to see what her 7th record would be. With the 2020 pandemic in place, Beyonce, like many other artists during the lockdown, reflected on themselves and their legacies. For Beyonce, she thought about how she decided to permit herself to focus on her joy. Part of why Renaissance is so impactful was its timing of coming out as the lockdowns began to end. The album's concept of escapism, self-expression, and freedom resonated with the general public. The intentionality of creating a club-like feel within the dance genre was meant to evoke the bottled-in fears that we all had during the isolation. A big influence of the album was Black dance, club culture, and the ballroom scene. Beyonce herself had been introduced to these influences by her uncle Johnny, a cousin of hers who helped raise her, but unfortunately passed due to the AIDS crisis. Renaissance serves as a patchwork of different genres across different periods. It's dance, it's house, it's disco, pop, bounce, reggaeton, garage, gospel, and even hyperpop. The way that it's assembled resembles a nightly mix at a club, on a night where the DJ is spot on the entire night. One thing about this record is that most of the songs contain switch-ups. Every piece of the record is fluid, dynamic, and truly inspired. The record's lyrical content varies from celebrating Bey's impact as an artist and a person, to imploring the Black and queer community to celebrate their scars, to even commemorating her own relationship with Jay-Z. Hit Boy himself revealed that the song Thick had been created in 2014, but didn't really find itself released until Renaissance. All of this is done with style, panache, and a place of confidence that only an artist who has thrived this long could do it. I've always said that Renaissance is a stunning history lesson sampling and tributing both mainstream and undersung voices and pioneers for dance music. We have the likes of Princess Loco, Tommy Wright III, Robin S., and Kevin Aviant sampled. One notorious cut sample though was Kellis, whose Milkshake was used for Energy. While Beyonce had asked the Neptune's blessing and clearance, Kellis herself was not informed due to really bad contracts and requested its removal. Beyonce curated producers from everywhere around the world, from Niles Rodgers to Honey Dijon to A.G. Cook. Featured on this record are the legendary Grace Jones on Move alongside the criminally underrated Thames. Beam, a prolific producer, features on Energy. Renaissance marks just one of 3 records recorded over a 3-year period of the pandemic. It was revealed that Cowboy Carter was actually worked on before Renaissance. The promo for the record started at the top of June 2022 when Beyonce deleted her profile pictures across all social media and fans found What is B7 on Beyonce's site. Additionally, a graphic from Be Good featured a new image pointing at Brandy's record B7. Beyonce would unveil the record on June 15th. To coincide with the official start of summer, Beyonce launched Break My Soul, the lead single, and her 8th solo #1 hit, sampling both Big Frida's Explode and Robin S.'s iconic Show Me Love. This dance house track spoke to the great resignation happening at the time. It spoke to people's frustrations about wage stagnation, and even won Best Dance Electronic Record at the Grammys. The iconic album cover dropped at the end of June, shot by Carlin Jacobs, sat atop Renee, a disco ball horse. Beyonce calls back to a look that she had on the Dangerously in Love cover. Some say that's also a homage to John Collier's Lady Godiva. An alternate cover sees her in another outfit in front of Luca Giordano's La Conversion de Saint Paul. Instead of this being a surprise drop, Beyonce actually followed a more traditional rollout of a first single on building hype, but rather than doing a promo blitz, Beyonce let her fans piece together clues and discuss the record online. She would withhold any performances of any of the tracks on Renaissance up until its eventual world tour. Renaissance Unleashed. Renaissance would drop on July 29, 2022. It debuted at #1, selling 332,000 units. It was Beyonce's 7th straight record to do that and was an international success all around. Critically, it was lauded as the best record of 2022 based on aggregated critic scores. Critics called the record cohesive, creative, joyous, and Beyonce's finest album to date. Many called out its clever political nature, as well as its dedication to great vocal performance and the genre of dance. NPR even went so far to call it Beyonce's Sistine Chapel. Renaissance topped many year-end lists and was nominated for 8 Grammys, and it took home 4. Many critics, to fans, to general observers noted that Renaissance losing to Harry's House for Album of the Year was one of the biggest snubs in recent history. Even I have to say that it's very weird that the Recording Academy itself has rewarded Bey just about every award possible but Album of the Year. Perhaps Cowboy Carter will rectify that oversight, but between self-titled, Lemonade, and Renaissance, you'd imagine that she'd win one. Beyonce clarified when the record had dropped that she wanted the focus to be on the music, hence the lack of visuals, whether it be a full photo shoot or music videos behind the record, though she would tease the video for I'm That Girl and a bunch of outfits, presumably for the rest of the songs. It's said by insiders that the visual album is an art film directed by Nadia Lee Cohen, and as of this recording, it has not been released. We are the visuals, apparently. The second single of the record at one point was rumored to be Church Girl, until Cuff It was released in October, which would ascend to #6 on the Hot 100 and become her longest charting solo song ever. In February 2023, the Renaissance World Tour was announced. It ran from May to October and was Beyonce's first solo tour in years. Each night was a 3-hour show cut into different acts, with Beyonce performing the record in order. It broke many records worldwide and was acclaimed. The staging and effects were elaborate. The stage itself had a cool circle cut into it for the VIP Club Renaissance section. There were cool sculptures, robot arms, and so much smoke effects that Beyonce herself had to be treated for bronchitis. It is estimated that she wore 148 different costumes throughout the touring period, with some of them being geographically tailored for the locations. A special Juneteenth show saw her perform in exclusive black designers' outfits. I recall that there is an opening act, Renaissance, Motherboard, Opulence, Anointed, Memories Run Through, Mind Control, and the Encore. Each night would end with a picture of her mother Tina and her uncle Johnny. This show was eventually immortalized through a theatrically released documentary showing the behind-the-scenes process of the record. Beyond the tour, the era closed out with an America Has a Problem remix featuring Kendrick Lamar and Virgo's Groove being a radio single in Italy. Beyonce would enter another period of dormancy until dropping a Verizon ad that teased new music, then overshadowing the entire Super Bowl with a proper album announcement and dropping Texas Hold'em and 16 Carriages. And now we're gonna go through a quick track-by-track review. The record opens with the thundering I'm That Girl, sampling Still Pimping by Tommy Wright III and Princess Loco, 2 legends that help establish hip-hop. Beyonce takes ownership of her success. She's saying that she got here on the back of her labor, her ingenuity, not her man, not the need to parade wealth, just her. There's a sense of humility in there, though, that she didn't want to have this cultural power. The bridge feels like a wind-up for verse 3, where she touches on her un-American life, the denial that she gets because of her skin. She's doing a rebirth, embracing the cultures who made her who she is today. Cozy continues that self-admiration. Honey Dijon's production pays homage to DJ Liddell, Tansel, and MTF's Get With You. On this track, she homages the struggle of the Black and queer communities and the spaces that they made to escape. Cozy describes herself and these spaces where a shutout community can stay warm. She also name checks the scars that she got in, whether it's her C-section or the ones that the industry has left her. The iconic line, "Might I suggest you don't fuck with my sis?" That's a shout out to Solange, her sister, and one of her fiercest advocates. I consider verse 2 towards the end to be poetry as she paints together Danielle Quasar's Pride flag. It concludes with a flawless transition and a sampling of Unique by Danube Dance. Alien Superstar is a celebration of her otherworldly status and achievements. It opens with an excerpt of Foremost Poet's Moonraker as a disclaimer that she's going experimental. She channels Dance Commander. Everything is calculated to perfection. The way that she says Unique is infectious. Category bad bitch, I'm the bar. Another iconic quotable line, homaging ballroom culture. She's the standard. And that chorus is just a redo of I'm too sexy, but rather she's too classy for this world. I read the Diamond and Pearls line as a homage to Prince. This is an adventurous dance floor classic that ends with a clip from the National Black Theater's founder, Barbara Ann Tier. It reiterates dressing, walking, talking, and doing things uniquely. When Beyonce references, it's done with an academic's eye. She looks through things from different lenses, but it's still fun. Cuff It is one of, if not my favorite Beyonce track of all time. It takes on funk and dance in a way that's just really organic. It feels like a perfect night out. The way that she sings I Feel Like Falling in Love at the top immediately lifts the mood. It interpolates Tina Marie's Ooh La La La. There's no historical references in sight. It's just Nile Rodgers on guitar, who did it in one take. It's about falling in love, fucking up the night, seeing spaceships fly, and telling her love to cuff it and lock it down. This was an organic smash. I think with visuals, this would have hit #1. It won Best R&B Song at the Grammys, undeniably a career high. Energy is a short dynamic track that keeps the flow going. I thought that it was a great interlude with shocking political statements. Voting out 45, don't get out of line. Everyone talks about the Everyone on Mute because of the Mute challenge on her tour. Atlanta Night 1 won that challenge. It's so short, but Beyonce tears it up. The repetition of pop and dot and shot. I can't forget that line because them Karens just turned into terrorists. She's locked in. It smoothly shifts over to Break My Soul. Break My Soul I named my favorite hit song of 2022, and I stand by that. It's a divine, sharp song about how overworked and underpaid we were. Frido's sample is masterful. Beyonce's rapping on the track is so playful. I recall people complaining that Cardi B was promoting the song more than Beyonce. Is it bad that I'm nostalgic for a time when it came out, even though that was just 2 years ago? Church Girl is next, and it's the only track where Beyonce is the sole lyricist. It's a pastiche of R&B, gospel, hip-hop from Chicago and the South. It samples Center of Thy Will by the Clark Sisters, as well as the Showboats drag rap in the post-chorus. A lot of people see this song as shade on Church Girls, but I think it's the opposite. It really is about the self being divine and posits that one can be close to God while acting loose and dropping it like a thotty. I adore the bridge because of the braggadocio. I think it's neat that she borrows from Nelly, DJ Jimmy, and even the City Girls. Must be the cash cause it ain't the face being an answer to Jay-Z's line, ain't no such thing as an ugly billionaire is so funny. Plastic Off the Sofa is a sweet ode to her husband, by the way. It's the slowest track on the record. It serves as the part of the evening where you catch your breath and appreciate the moment. This track is gorgeously produced yet mature. Again, the vocal production, it soars on this record. Beyonce is vocally at her best here, and the transition to Virgo's Groove is just wonderful. Virgo's Groove is widely considered one of the best songs that Bey has ever dropped, and from the opening moments, I know that's right. Bey herself is a Virgo. It's a very lusty, sensual track that's more atmospheric. The vocal layering on the track really sells it. I found that the ad-libs were my favorite part of the song. I love the switch up in the middle. I love the way that the bridge really does fly. The bass lines and harmonies work so well. They're very calculated, very calibrated. I think that this is the best Beyonce's ever sounded on a song vocally. We get the full range of her voice, the highs, the lows, everything in between. Move brings momentum. Grace Jones and Thames, they make the best of their feature. I love the Afrobeat and bounce influence. The pre-chorus is hypnotic, but the chorus is so much fun. Beyonce's attitude and Grace's chanty emphasis works, but it's really the interlude with Thames that is the highlight. That part always gets stuck in my head. Heated continues the Afrobeat influences. This track was actually co-written with with Drake, and you can sort of hear his influence, but Beyonce makes this her own. The instrumental shift towards the end keeps the song fresh. Lyrically, it speaks to her uniqueness and how no man can tame her. The outro sees her lay some pretty sick bars. Monday I'm overrated, Tuesday on my dick. Her tribute to her Uncle Johnny really hits because she remembers the dress that he sewed for her prom. There's really tiny moments of vulnerability here in between her talking about how amazing she is that really humanizes her above being an icon, being someone with memory with loved ones. Thick has a really cool dark trap beat. The production is fun. It feels like a cool back and forth between Bey and It. The beat always feels like it's chasing after Bey's quick wit. It ends with an intro for All Up in Your Mind, which was co-produced by the amazing A.G. Cook. It's a hyperpop confection that proves that Beyonce can do any genre. Lyrically, it's about how rent-free she lives in Jay's mind. I really love the contrast between Bey's measured tone and cadence and the instrumental, the interplay that it has between each other. I really want her to do a whole hyperpop record. America Has a Problem is so unserious but so genius. Sampling Kilo Ali's song America Has a Problem, written about the crack epidemic, and comparing it to women. Beyonce flips it, writing from the perspective of the addictive woman. On the refrain, she name drops Tony Montana, Ivy Park, and Gucci. She knows that she's an expensive brush. The way that she sings high is addictive. She knows that she's keeping her man hooked on her, and she knows why he keeps on running back for more. Pure/Honey is a great two-part song that opens with a cool thump, Kevin Aviant's sample praising the feminine divine, a theme of this record. Pure speaks to Vogue and house influences on the record. I feel like the transition to Honey speaks to Beyonce's range as an artist best, because again, that shift from the harsh beat to Honey's disco vibes with the harmony and sweet lyrics is crazy. Beyonce's ability to transform mid-track is partially why this record even works to begin with. I always felt like the song best encapsulated Renaissance's overall theme. It feels like a mini version of the album. The record closes out with Summer Renaissance sampling the incomparable Donna Summer's I Feel Love. It's a perfect way to close out this record as it symbolizes Bey's complete rebirth and reinvention through the power of disco, house, and ballroom. The production sweeps wide and flies high. The transition between the pre-chorus and the chorus is just so silky smooth. On the bridge, she knows that she's earned her 10. She flaunts her vocals, her fashion. She closes out the record vocalizing in a way I imagine might actually open up Cowboy Carter. Overall thoughts, it goes without saying that this is a 10 out of 10 record, an all-time classic, and is gonna be hard to beat, honestly. But I have a feeling that Act 2 and 3 might actually do it. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for tuning in to this Renaissance recap video. I just wanted to re-listen to the record and share my thoughts about it. I wasn't able to cover the record because I was on hiatus in 2022, but I am here for Cowboy Carter. I cannot wait to review it as soon as possible, though I will take some time to really parse through the lyrics and really understand what the record means. I feel like Bey is an academic in how she creates pop, and I want to respect the level of detail that she does creating her work by analyzing it. A quick shout out to my members. Thank you so much for supporting my channel, and a shout out to my subscribers. Thank you everyone who's clicked that button, including the notification bell. Click on that to be notified about my new videos as they come out. I've been actually doing a great job this month being consistent with my release dates and making videos, but I am going to slow down a little bit after Tortured Poets just to catch my breath and to focus on other projects. But then again, who knows what could happen? Who knows what albums are gonna drop? Just know that I'll be there, and I will see you next video.